When was the last time you took some time off to ponder upon something for an entire day or perhaps an entire week, right? So if your job is something that involves some sort of strategy or management or creativity or any form of unstructured decision making, your primary job is to think, right? And unlike jobs that involve repetitive tasks, this job requires long stretches of uninterrupted time. You need to give it some time to bring ideas inside your head, right? And we live in a culture where being available 8 to 10 hours a day continuously from morning to evening has become the norm, right? And believe it or not, anybody in the world would agree that you cannot get any thinking done when you're at work. Now, work might be inside an office before the pandemic, but right now it's home. But still, work really happens at work. Because work in the general term is defined by availability. You used to be available at office during office hours. Now you have to be available on Slack and you have the status called available. Now most people do not realize this, but this is an invitation for others to ping you and distract you and disturb you and ask questions. Anyway, anything that takes your mind off the real work that you're supposed to do. If your primary job is to think, then everything happens inside here. It's not really visible, right? And to be honest, a person can get more work done sitting on a park all by himself with his thoughts than sitting in a board meeting. And these days, if you are busy day in, day out, attending meetings, answering urgent calls, or organizing brainstorming sessions, then thinking really takes a backseat, right? And you do a lot of things. It appears that you do a lot of things, but you cannot get anything done. And that is the problem that we're going to talk about in this video. To get good ideas, you have to give yourself the opportunity to stumble upon them. And when you get good ideas when you are in the shower. You get good ideas when you're happily cooking or happily singing, right? You get good ideas when you're taking a walk, an evening stroll in the park or beside the lake, right? When you're completely worry-free, you have no distractions, you're kind of chilling out. That is when you get good ideas. You can never get good ideas if you are always hyper-reactive, if you are clocking 100% productivity. That appears like work but doesn't give you any ideas. And to be honest, that is the reason most businesses fail. Most businesses, especially startups, they prioritize moving faster over thinking better. But to be honest, if you have to innovate, you have to take a step back. You have to look at the whole problem holistically. You have to slow down. You have to think about a problem from multiple directions, from multiple angles, and then develop a perspective, a school of thought to go ahead with an original idea. If you're busy executing the all day and all night, then it's not a wonder that most businesses end up as copycats of each other. There is no innovation. There is either a business is a copy of a successful business following the successful norms and procedures and business development measures, or they end up dead, right? And you can do a simple test to see what kind of business culture you belong to. Do you depend upon your friends and colleagues to be responsive throughout the day? That is one question. Or is it that you do not care whether they are working right now or they're sleeping, maybe doing yoga, taking their spouse out for dinner, picking their kids from school, playing tennis, sleeping, slacking off? It doesn't matter. If that is the case, then my friend, you are among the lucky ones who belong to a culture where innovation is fostered, thinking is fostered, trust is developed, and you encourage people to stumble upon ideas serendipitously, right? But if you have to depend upon your friends and colleagues to be responsive throughout the day, then you are essentially using availability and responsiveness as proxy for diligence. That it doesn't work that way. Work is invisible, right? Work doesn't look like work. Work shouldn't look like work, to be honest. Steve Jobs famously took evening strolls back in the day to think about ideas, discuss with his friends and colleagues about the future of Apple, right? Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter and Square famously wonders about thinking about a lot of things about the future of two companies, right? Bill Gates back in the day used to take time off, weeks off, in fact, reading and thinking about the future of tech and Microsoft. That is where work gets done, not in office. Nothing is visible. It's invisible. It's going on inside their head, and that is what most people do not realize, right? If you see how Charlie Munger or Warren Buffett work, most of the day they are either reading or thinking, right? Warren Buffett has famously cracked a lot of business deals on his bathtub, which doesn't look like a workplace. So time and again, I'm trying to focus on the fact that work is invisible, right? And you have to respect people's time. You have to see that they get enough time and opportunity to do their work, the real work, the thinking job, and that is what gives good ideas. Now, in investment and in startups, we generally do not look at the outcomes to decide if they are successful, because a lot of it depends upon luck and timing, and outcomes can be a fluke. But work is something that is the opposite of it. You cannot look at the process. In a startup and investing, you look at the process, the business development process or the investment process, the methodology. But in work, you look at the outcome, because the process is invisible to the eye, right? The process is something that is happening inside their head, and you have to give them the room and the freedom to get the work done inside their head. You do not have to look at them getting the work done. They do not have to be available to get the work done. They just have to give you the outcomes, and that is how you measure good work, right? That is all for today. My name is Abhishek, and every Sunday I post a new video where I talk about an idea that gives you an unfair advantage over others. Now, talking about unfair advantage, every company has an ASAP culture, right? Because you have to depend upon the instant responsiveness of your friends and colleagues to make the company go ahead, go forward, and that is how work happens. And they are at a serious disadvantage from others. And ASAP culture is what you develop when you do not develop the culture or the communication yourself. When you sleepwalk into the culture, ASAP culture is what you get. And how you develop a culture where thinkers, the idea makers, the decision makers are respected needs a lot of effort. And if you do that, if you just, for starters, if you focus on not depending upon instant responsiveness, it's a good start to build a culture that fosters creativity and thinking, right? And that gives you a serious advantage over others, because everybody is busy being busy, executing and not thinking and innovating. And we need innovations to move ahead. I'll see you soon. Till then, peace.